braces for a little while for a lifetime of confident smiles. Let Dr. Kaneshiro DDS-MS kindly walk you through the process of orthodontics, straightening those crooked teeth and fixing that bite. You'll be even more confident to flash those pearly whites. Make your appointment with Dr. Kaneshiro today, 646-9890. Having a marvelous set of teeth is a confidence booster, so getting braces, always a great idea. Visit Dr. Kaneshiro today across St. John's and Upper Tumon, serving our island with his professional expertise in orthodontics for over 29 years.
Veterans with Benefits with your hosts Anthony Tyron and Karina Ballista starts now.
Half a day, welcome back. It's what? Today is
June 3rd.
June 3rd. So first we'll start with, we are wearing teal, as you can see. So it's PTSD Awareness Month. If you're a veteran, head on over to the va.gov website and then just type in PTSD. The web page is too long for me to tell you what it is or where it's at. So we'll start with our sponsors. Thank you to Ambrose Inc., American Legion, Hebzibah Clinic, Guam Eco Surfaces, Zuilo.org, Vic Gaza for Senator, 11Z's, the coffee shop, which is right behind us. They offer an 11% discount to veterans. And then, did you want to say hi to someone?
I wanted to say hello to Knox and Aaliyah.
All right. And then that leads us to Veteran of the Week. Veteran of the Week is David Fowler. Dave enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserves on July 19, 1966, and was assigned to the 365th Engineer Battalion located in Pennsylvania. He completed basic training at Fort Bragg and attended AIT, also in Virginia, where he was trained in the field of soils analyst. While with the 306th Engineer Battalion, he was assigned the following positions: Senior Soil Analyst, Construction Surveyor, Chief Construction Surveyor, Terrain Intel Analyst, and cartographer, and construction engineer supervisor. He volunteered for active duty in a new program for the Army Reserves called Additional Full-Time Training Readiness Manning. This program was developed to place active duty training NCOs at reserve units. Then on July 20, 1979, he received orders to the 412th Engineer Panel Bridge Company in West Hazelton, Pennsylvania, as an administrative specialist. In February of 1982, he received orders placing him on active duty in the AGR Full-Time Manning Assistant Program. Then he was transferred to Company D with the same battalion, and Company D was reorganized as Company A. It was mobilized for Desert Storm and relocated to Pennsylvania. The battalion never deployed and was released from active duty on March 2nd, 1991. He returned to his AGR company, his position with Company A. And then in February 1992, he was assigned to the 315th Engineer Group, also located in New Cumberland Army Depot. On November 1992, he received orders assigning him to the 297th Engineer Company, located in Guam, and was assigned as a construction engineer supervisor. He remained assigned to the 297th until he retired on February 28, 1997, with 20 years, 0 months, and 24 days active duty, and 10 years, 6 months, and 18 days in active duty reserve. Some of his decorations include Retirement Lapel Pin, Army Commendation Medal, 4th Award, Army Achievement Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Armed Forces Ribbon, Non-Commissioned Officer Professional Development Ribbon with numeral 3, Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Service Ribbon, Army Reserve Component or Overseas Training Ribbon, Sharpshooter Marksman Qualification Badge with Rifle Bar, and Driver and Mechanic Badge with Driver A-Bar. Let's thank him for his service and congratulations. And
Amen.
starting this week, Veterans of the Week will be able to get a pizza at Domino's. Thank you to also veteran, yes?
Dean Teitzno.
Dean Teitzno.
And if he doesn't call in today, he'll be calling in next week on the show. We wanted to really thank Domino's and Dane for coming out, and it's a small token of their appreciation for veterans, and it helps to improve more people wanting to become Veterans of the Week. So
Yes.
get your nominations in, reach out to our folks over here, and let's recognize all our veterans. We don't all get to be Veteran of the Year at the end of the year, and if we could just do something small like this, it would be awesome. But thank you to Domino's again, and thank you to Dane Taitanu, who's a veteran himself.
And then some of the things that we've done, or some of the events we have going on. So last week, the show we did Memorial Day, where we honored the fallen from Guam. That was a really good show. Thanks, Bob Kelly, for setting that up for us. And then Boot Camp 30 is happening now. Benefits Boot Camp. It's a 3-day free event sponsored by HMI. And what we do is we to inform you about the whole VA claims process, beginning to end. So, and every day is different. And if you can't make it, Boot Camp 31 is on July 8, 9, and 10 at the Aston Mayor's office. And then also next week we have the Women's Veteran event on June 12th happening at Capitol Kitchen. Our guest speaker is going to be Captain Damon. Captain Damon. And if you need to RSVP, if you're a woman veteran, 671-682-7631, you can RSVP with me. And then next week we're going to have Brandon Vera on, who's also a veteran. And now that leads to introduction of our guest.
Sure. If you don't mind, I'll just say a couple of things.
Okay, yes.
And then we'll have him introduce himself.
Okay.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about last week's Memorial Day event. There was some controversy about the heights of the flags that were posted at half-mast. We saw the event was very honoring of our veterans, and we hope that we can continue to have that type of showing, and just to continue to do that. When we start looking at the things that we do, it's a simple thing of making sure that the flags are raised properly. I'm not an expert on flag etiquette and things that we should be doing, but if we want to respect the people of Guam and we raise our flag in a way that doesn't, give respect to the people of Guam, then maybe that's part of the reason why things aren't always the way they're supposed to be. I don't believe that's the mindset of our leaders out here. And I think if we can start showing that respect to the flag and having it placed properly and done properly, maybe we start taking care of the people out here and the veterans. Once again, right, I know that if we had the American flag halfway down the same place where the Guam flag was, I'm sure our leaders would not be happy about that. And for those that had done the drill of going out there the day before, rehearsing and ensuring that we do this properly, there's a reason behind why we do this, and to practice and do this properly is just a simple thing that we need to do. And people make mistakes, and yes, we can correct them, but as little as possible, right? Maybe we can try to make that something that shouldn't happen, especially in today's environment and the temperature out there, right? Those little things matter. So once again, for those that felt that they were not treated properly, we want you to know that, that issue was brought up. I know we had it in the papers. Some folks decided to post on it, others didn't. When I say that, I know that the Guam PDN made mention of what had happened. So if we could just, start paying attention to these things and looking around us, because if you hadn't noticed, the buildup is here and has been here, but there's things that we as an island and the people and as veterans must take advantage of, because when they come here, there are things that they want to work with us and take care of us with and work together so that these things, are done properly. So anyway, I think that's my spiel on the
flag.
the whole flag thing. And for all our local people out there, I assure you that what had happened is not about the way that we're being treated. And it's still our duty to ensure that these things are followed up properly and that we make sure that, things are done correctly and everyone's treated with respect. So that's it for me.
Okay.
And now our guest will introduce himself. Yes. Shy of being Superman, there are so many things that he does out there, and we'll let him have his time and start out with his history and background.
Yes.
When I heard that story, oh my God, it's reminds me of that song I kept thinking in my head, Angels Among Us. When I hear a Veteran of the Week, I think, God, how many heroes do we have here on this island?
Yeah.
Just taking it back to World War II, 1,200 people lost their life to give the island back. And oh my God, the history behind that is just amazing to me. And my career in medicine actually started when I was about 13 or 14, believe it or not. When all the other kids wanted to play cowboys and Indians, I wanted to be the medic out there trying to save somebody. So somebody bought me this little first aid kit, and my brother found me an Army bag to put it in. Man, therefore, now I was an Army medic, like they were on MASH on TV, and I thought, wow, how great that is. And we got a ton of angels and heroes walking amongst us here in the Guam area. And I actually physically started practicing in '99 as a PA first, and in 2010 when I graduated med school. My career kept changing as a traveling physician, different areas beyond where I was at, whether it be a couple of years ago, Indian Reservation, before that, a military base, before that, in Afghanistan. All these places we went to as traveling physicians, we were able to, by what state we go to, depend on how we work or where we work. So here, what we do mostly is, yes, I do operate my own charity, but we do that by other supporting means. We don't take donations. We just do whatever we can make or whatever to help the veterans. We go somewhere in the neighborhood of 28-something countries we've been in. We shipped probably 3,800 boxes, roughly at about 100, 200 pounds apiece. One just arrived in Cebu, Philippines last week. Got a wonderful video on that, and just these people will never know my name or anybody else's name because it's true charity. And when you give it to them, I got a video back about all these people and children that were being helped. That's the exciting part about my medical care. But here on Guam, I want to bring to the attention to the family members out there that have veterans. A wonderful patient of mine on Thursday said to me, I was told that as a veteran, I was registered in California, so I can't get veterans care here. This wonderful man is basically sleeping in half of a shed house with a family member who didn't understand. I gave him the card of this organization, and I said, you can get registered here in Guam. You can get care. You can get people to come out. So with our company, we go to the house anyway. We see them on site. We bring labs on site to draw their blood. We see them physically. We get them medications. We get social workers, physical therapy, occupational therapy. We got an excellent wound care team. And these people actually encourage me every day just looking at them. And the stuff they do here on the island and for the people of this island, these veterans, these local civilians, they're not an interruption of our day. They're actually the purpose of it. If you are a welder and you don't have metal to weld, then you're not a welder. If you're a provider, whether it be PA, MD, nurse practitioner, if you don't have patients to see, go to them. See them in their homes. It's okay. Patients love when we come into their home and seeing them in their own place. It's a wonderful, cheerful thing. Well,
and by the way, so our guest here is none other than Dr. Brian Cregan.
I was going to say that. He didn't even introduce himself. He went straight into his stories.
And that's by his nature. And he spoke about that earlier, that, all the good things that he's doing, he doesn't necessarily want to be recognized for it. And a lot of our veterans are doing that. When we call them up and say, hey, somebody mentioned that, they'd like for you to be a Veteran of the Week. For them, they say, oh no, let somebody else do it. It's okay, I'm okay, right? But the reason we do this is we needed to get our veterans recognized, and I don't know that we can get all of them all at one time, and we only have 52 weeks in the year, but I'm sure over the course of X amount of years, we'll probably try to get as many as we can. And there are other ways of us to recognize them and get them up here and take care of them. But so back to your what you do. You work for HSP?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure do.
And your group is able to receive TriWest insurance and TRICARE, so you're able to help veterans even on a regular basis.
Yes, I usually turn the insurance part over to the more properly managed people, because you don't want me managing your insurance, that's for sure. I may get some ugly phone calls if that happens, so please. We have wonderful people for that, but yes, the Veterans Administration here has been sending veterans, active duty, disabled veterans, even homeless veterans that are here that have not registered for the VA. Through this organization, we've gave them cards and told them, go seek help. We're here for you. Just reach out.
And you do more on top of that too, right? So through your foundation, right, you may be out there treating them through your HSP, right? And that's your job as a doctor, right?
Yes.
And yet they might have little things that need to be done at their home that you go out there through your foundation and just try to help them have a better environment. Is that correct?
Yes. An example is a gentleman literally had no legs, and what we did is he was fearful of animals or something coming through his window, so he kept his windows shut, basically. And I said, what would help you here? And he said, if I could just get screens up there. He made a military joke. He said, I'm just too short to put the screens in. And I was like, okay, thank you for that. But he just brought joy to my heart. So me and a team, just through my charity and help with others at HSP, went there, put screens in his building, helped knock out one of the walls. Now he has 2 rooms to go back and forth in a wheelchair in. He built the same house he's living in 20, 30 years ago while I was in the military and serving here. And so he was able, through our help, if it were, I just say ours, as in there's a wonderful team. I'm just happen to be part of it. He was able to get a small TV, a secondary cell phone, food delivered to him through a wonderful organization, Meals on Wheels, charitable care, medical care, nursing care, physical therapy care. Whereas when we first met him, he was sleeping on a piece of plywood propped up by 4 bricks. Sounded like me in college. But, and the fact that even him looking at a can of Spam saying, man, and he's staring at it like it's a diamond ring.
Yeah.
I was so excited when I went back out after the last house call and seen him, how, for me, how much he has progressed in 8 months. And now he plans to sell his property and move into a nice condo with other friends and stuff like this. And just to see him go so far in 8 months, that's a true blessing for us. And this was a gentleman, I seen his picture of him in the military. I'm like, man, we get ugly when we get old, because I looked great in a military uniform. Now, I'm sorry. You guys, it's not going to happen. And this young, strapping Romanian guy, you know, looked so great in his uniform. And here he was sleeping on a piece of plywood. I could not let my heart say, no, we're not going to help.
Right.
And they're not an interruption of our day. They're the purpose of it.
Yes.
You're not seeing it that way. You're looking at it all wrong.
I feel like that's what we need to tell those at VBA, Veterans Benefits Administration.
Exactly.
Because I always remind the veterans when the VBA gives them a hard time that your job exists because veterans exist.
Yeah.
If you don't want to help me, go find another job.
And by the way, right, when we're talking about this, right, this is not an open challenge to our veterans to be mean to these folks, right?
No.
But at the same time, you know, I mean, the respect has to be given back. And we understand that, you know, this is not the first veteran they met today, and they may have been yelled at by 2 or 3 before that veteran, but that veteran doesn't deserve to be treated differently just because 2 or 3 before pissed that person off, you know, or made their day bad. And this is a tough thing that we have to deal with out here. So finding ways to make that better is always what we got to be after. And I think one of the things we talk about, right, is the Department of Veterans Affairs exists for veterans. And if all the veterans were gone away today, what would happen to the Department of Veterans Affairs?
Politics.
they might go somewhere else, right? I mean, but they won't have a job as it relates to veterans. They'll have a different job because the federal government will take them and put them elsewhere.
Yes.
But for today, their job is to care for that veteran, and it's no wonder they have a hard time. Is because we put them through that. We as a nation send our people to wars, and when they come up tattered and torn, we're like, well, what happened to you? I don't know. War happened to me. Things that are unimaginable that people never see or never experience. That's what happened to them. So the least we could do when they come home is try to care for them. And, they're not the same person that left
No.
when they come back.
Which is a great segue into it's PTSD Awareness Month.
Yes, I do want to bring that up because many people think PTSD is only combat veterans who shot it out at the Battle of the Bulge or all these other great places. I wonder if I'm still there.
Oh.
Yeah, you're still good.
I don't hear my...
Oh, no, but
you don't have to. It's
That's only when they
That's
call
when
in.
when you get a call in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your voice is
If
fine.
you just take those off, you can hear us.
Oh,
still.
okay. I can hear much better.
Yeah.
Thank you. And PTSD can come from a number of reasons, a number of ways. We deal with cops, we deal with firemen, we deal with military, we deal with civilians. PTSD is more prevalent in the military because of what we're forced to do. I was a swimmer corpsman in the Coast Guard, so most of the times I swam, I didn't swim for leisure or fun. I swam in the ocean in the middle of the night rescuing drunk boaters in Miami.
Oh, wow.
That's an overstatement, but that's, being in Miami Station there in the 80s, we had a lot of Haitian operations at that time, and as you know, we had thousands in the water at any given time. So what we had to do is be able to get them out of the water, get them onto a boat, safely bring them to an area and treat them. So our job was a little bit complex in that time, defend, treat, and everything else. So being a veteran in that environment, we medics back then, HSs, rescue swimmers, we tend to get a lot of injuries doing that type of work. If everybody's ever got out of a helicopter in the middle of the night in the ocean, it's dark, it's cold, and it's scary. So that's what I said. We have a lot of heroes amongst us here in Guam that have done 10 times what I would ever do. And I look up to even the older veterans who served long before I ever put my time in. It took me 16 years to get my veterans qualifications, and they paid for every one of my degrees through what's called VA Voc Rehab. Although I originally paid for most of that stuff, later on to be reimbursed by the VA and get my percentage was absolutely wonderful.
Oh, wow.
So,
And that's awesome, right?
Oh,
Okay.
We're gonna take a break. I know we have a call, but we're gonna take a break first, and then we will answer the phone call. We'll be right back.
Most organizations struggle with defining and then delivering the kind of customer service that can truly make a difference. They end up clinging to slogans that fall short in the eyes of both customers and their own employees. Here's reality. A customer service strategy must be simple and duplicatable throughout every level of an organization. Friday, June 20th, Guam Training presents Winning Customer Service, a compelling way of presenting service-related issues to today's multi-generational workforce. Effective customer service requires capturing employee attention, getting buy-in, and then coming through on our commitments. The principles are irrefutable, the strategies are proven, and the results can be transformative. Winning Customer Service, just one of 6 powerful courses offered between June 11th and June 20th. Get the details for Winning Customer Service and other courses offered at guamtraining.com. It's all waiting for you at guamtraining.com.
yeah.
And we're back. I just wanted to say hello to everyone online watching us before we answer the phone call. So, who's online? We have Brennan Fausto, Jigo
Yay.
Jarhead watching. Let's go, veteran warfighters.
Hello, Brennan.
We have Bill Salisbury. He says Hafaday. Hi, Auntie Bennett. She says Hafaday vets.
up, buddy?
Steve Amagwin says Hafaday. This is a long one, Steve. This election season, the veterans issue will be used as part of campaign promises. Our representative in Congress has done their best to represent us in Congress. Our earned income tax credits being reimbursed, the war reparations have been addressed, and payments were made. With the representation, the community-based outpatient clinic was built, and C-Box Annex will still open in Dededo. So it is a step to the right direction, no matter who is elected into that office. The difference begins with us, the veterans and the voters. We can continue to make that difference by registering as a veteran here in our island. Apply for benefits because the benefits are not automatic. Unfortunately, you are right. They're not automatic. Hello to Dr. Koma, Hafaday Veterans,
Hey,
Biba
Doc.
HMI.
Hey, Doc.
Great job, Brian. And then Roki Cruz, Biba HMI.
Hey, Roki's with the Knights of Columbus.
Yes. And we have a call?
Yes, we have a caller. So let's see. Hold on. Caller, can you hear us? Half a day.
Yeah, it's just Steve.
How
I
you
guess
doing?
you read my comments on Facebook.
We
But,
did. I was like, oh, this is a lot. Because,
Yeah,
once
Steve.
you touch your name on Facebook, it
true.
expands your
Every
message.
election were used as a campaign promises that they do want to take care of us. But we'll just hold them to their promises, and next election find out if they actually fulfill those promises. But give credits to where the credits are due. I mean, they've done their best. The earned income tax credit has been paid. The war reparations finally been given to our war survivors, and we're still working on the SSI. And with the help of our representative in our Congress, we managed to actually build our CBOC, and we're about to open the annex, CBOC annex, and then so
Right.
it's a good progress. We just have to be patient, and we have to do our part as a veteran.
Yes.
Then we cannot just depend on our leaders and hold them up with their campaign promises that they're going to take care of us. Because first thing first, we have to take care of ourselves, register, get the benefit, and we'll be able to attain all those benefits that if you are qualified, we have the care in the community that the VA can provide. And kudos to the CBOC, the VA. They've been great.
Yes.
I can attest. They've been taking care of me.
Yes.
If I need something in the outside the community, they're so fast and they'll refer me outside. It's just a matter of it takes two. I mean, it's a two-pronged approach for the veterans and then the VA, because you cannot just pretend or assume that VA knows exactly what you need. You have to tell them exactly what you want. One time I heard somebody on the radio that a veteran was upset because when he went to see a doctor, he was upset because the doctor asked him what's wrong with him. Mm-hmm. And he said something to the effect that, oh, you're supposed to know. I said, our doctors are the psychic. Yeah. They cannot tell you, they cannot read your mind what's wrong with you. You have to tell them exactly what's wrong with you. Yeah. It's like when you take a vehicle to a mechanic, you're going to have to tell them what's wrong with your vehicle at first, right? Or they're going to do a diagnostic, but we're not cars. But, we're supposed to let them know what's wrong with them so that they can know exactly what to look for and what are the possibilities that something wrong with you. So when I heard that, he said, I fired that doctor. I said, I said, okay, good for you. But, you have to be nice to the doctors too, because they're trying their best. I mean, some of these people are off island, away from the family, and trying to serve our island, our veterans here in Guam. Mm-hmm. I know they're saying that it's hard to get an appointment, but I see my VA doctor or CBOC every 3 months. Mm-hmm. You just have to make that effort. You have to call the numbers that they provide you, and may have to make the follow-up. Yeah. And if you do your part, they will take care of you, and they've been taking care of me.
And there's other means also if you need to get a little bit more care inside of the 3 months, right? There's always like urgent care or depending on what level you're at, right? I mean, for emergencies, the Naval Hospital is always open for our veterans, and that's if there's no other place for us to go. So
because it's making it sound like the veterans here are being neglected. No, we don't. Because I've gone to FHP for urgent care, and I've gone to Naval Hospital when I was having a hard time. I thought I was having a heart attack, and the Naval Hospital actually took care of me, and didn't let me go until everything was cleared, and no charge.
Yeah, and by the way,
Same thing
right?
with the
There's
same thing with the FHP.
yeah, and there's a lot of things that are out there, but there's also this lack of education, and we got to push this information out even more, and you'd be surprised at how many people out there actually don't know or understand what's going on. Like right now, one of the things that we should be getting most of our folks to do is to get up to the CBOC and get registered for the PACT Act expansion. But even more than that, Dr. Akoma had mentioned, hey, why don't you just get them to sign up for their health care online, and they might just be eligible while they are online. And that's another thing to do. Now, what we're going to need to get is our folks up at TZN to ensure that when our veterans come up there, that they're able to help them with creating their VA.gov account. We've been having a lot of success, but we did come across a few people that were turned away, and I don't know if it was a miscommunication, but the majority of them are saying that the TZN office is creating the VA.gov accounts, and that's the first step for our veterans to get into being able to be recognized through the VA and starting to look for all their paperwork and the things that they need. So that's huge, and I don't see the TZN office saying no. I think there could be a miscommunication, and hopefully we can get them to call in. We'll definitely have them on our next symposium talking about what things they do up there. And I think there's other things coming out aside from that also.
You can start out with the DS logon, right?
Yes,
and
of course.
the DS login, but the DS login, I believe, will expire by December. You need to have a login.gov account in order for you to access VA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And you can sign up at home, or if you're able to scan your ID, and I believe they will take the real ID, not just a regular driver's license, because I think you have to upload an ID to. I have not done that myself, so I have not applied for. They weren't recognizing my driver's license, but now I have the real ID thing, so I'm gonna have to give it a shot. But right now I'm just accessing everything via the DS logon. So
yes,
all of this. You can start with your my health benefits. You can it's a non login that you can actually sign in. And you're right. Even Dr. Akoma did mention during our meeting that self-attestation for the PACT Act is just suffice. You don't have to provide them a medical record. Just say that you submit a document saying that this is what's been happening. That you saying that you can, because every time you file something online, there's at the bottom you always say you have to say something that everything that you put in there are true. Subject to some form of penalty if you lie.
Yeah, and just to add a few more things, many folks look at me and think that all I do is sit around and eat and drink and, smile and get paid to do that. Well, they're all true, except for I don't get paid to do things. But I wanted to share that I do love to eat and drink. But we've been talking to some folks, and believe it or not, we are working towards getting our veterans some technology training already. So on top of everything else out there, whenever our veterans need help with understanding how to get onto the VA.gov and these things, we're setting that up. But this is just a teaser. I'll let you know when those folks that are going to be presenting will be in. So you got to stay tuned, because there's a lot of things that we are doing. We also have help from another organization, a government organization, that will also be helping with technology. On top of that, that meeting that I had today, and again, right, you're going to have to listen to the radio because we're going to be putting these things out. They will also help us with our veteran registry.
Yes.
So one more time, I have a Government of Guam agency that will be helping us with our registry. We're going to get them on so you'll be able to ask them questions and get them to help us. On top of that, they'll do the technology. Then we got a private company out there looking to help our veterans with technology, so that, there's never a doubt about, I went up to TZN and I didn't get help. Well, if you didn't get help there, here's where we got help. So
you're probably talking about Office of Technology, OTEC, to help out?
no, actually
They
not.
must have
But
control of all the computer access in Guam.
well, not with this particular one. This is another group. But anyway,
Okay, I just want to say before I go, I just want to say thank you to you and your group for actually reaching out to the veterans. And I heard a lot of good news. A lot of veterans are finally actually getting their benefits. Some that has procrastinated.
Yeah.
They retired about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And now they said, man, they realized that, man, I had lost a lot of these benefits.
yes,
It's not just your money that you lost out, your benefits you lost out, but also the financial gain for you and your family.
that's right.
And also for your children if you have 100%.
And our island. And by the way, Steve, thank you
That's
so
a
much. And you're also part of our task force. And your input, man. I don't know why we didn't get you on sooner, but we've invited more of our members out there to come in and provide input to the things that we need to get done, because that's the only way this thing is going to work.
I just retired this one. It's been 2 years.
But we got approval.
I've been hiding.
We got the approval from the missus. So as long as you take her to breakfast after the meetings, then you're good to go. All right, Steve.
Man, you guys keep up the great work, man, and
You too.
hopefully fellow veterans are really listening and start put away that pride and
Yes.
apply for the benefits.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, Steve. You take care.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I want to say hello to those watching online that joined us. David Mays, thank you, HMI, for all you've done for me. You're welcome, David. Thank you for coming to all our events. And Charlie Hermosa. Hello,
Hey.
Charlie.
Is that our Republican candidate for governor?
Is it Charlie? Charlie, comment. So before we go any further, I keep harping on it's PTSD Awareness Month, and
Yes.
I just want to read what some of the symptoms are of PTSD. So if you are a listening veteran, or if you're a family member, or if you know anyone that's suffering from some of these, they could have PTSD.
Or ask questions now.
Yes, especially since we have a doctor online.
Yes.
So some of the PTSD symptoms are recurrent or involuntary and intrusive distressing memories of the traumatic event you experienced while you're in service, flashbacks, memory issues, irritable behavior, reckless or self-destructive behavior, exaggerated startle response, problems with concentration, sleep disturbance, depressed mood, anxiety, suspiciousness, panic attacks, difficulty in understanding complex commands, impaired judgment, difficulty in establishing and maintaining effective work and social relationships, suicidal ideation, neglect of personal appearance and hygiene, disorientation to time or place. Those are just some of the symptoms.
Correct.
So I just wanted to touch on those since it's PTSD Awareness Month. And if you're part of one of our many chat groups on WhatsApp, I pushed out a resource flyer and the link for PTSD, the VA link for PTSD.
What are your
And then-
thoughts? Go ahead.
I see it all the time on Hollywood movies where this gentleman wakes up out of the bed, sits up, covered in sweat with these blood-curdling nightmare type things. PTSD doesn't just have to be that. It's the interference of the events that keep interfering with our given day. I have patients that just, they seem to be relatively fine, but they're driving down the road completely engulfed into the thing that brought them into PTSD, and they hang on to that thought or prevalence just for a much longer period of time. That's where the interruption of your day. I thought you were reading my biography for a minute. I had to make sure, no, as you were going down there. But PTSD is no laughing matter. Bring your, if you suspect it, bring it to someone's attention. Please don't let this go by, because it does not have to be a war veteran. It can be somebody that, when he said he was a soil analysis, I thought, well, that's okay, that's dirt. That's good. Wow. I didn't know how hard his job was, but that's a very technical thing. And soil analysis, actually, in the era of Vietnam, they were finding how much Agent Orange and all these other chemicals that were being dropped there. These were the people that found what was being left behind. So they're heroes in my heart, too. Mm-hmm. So,
And there's a lot of there are programs in place already, and I know Steve talked about this at our last task force meeting, right? So the VA will pay the Guam Fire Department to transport a veteran in crisis from his location to a mental health facility. What we're finding out, though, is that the fire department can't do that because they have to get him cleared at the emergency room, and their billing process requires the veteran to be taken to the ER. Now, I'm sure there are ways to get this worked on, and for all of our senators that are running for office out there, if you're listening right now, if that is something that we're challenged with, and the reason we're not getting our veterans to be able to use this, we need to try to get this program to start working. Because anytime a veteran is in crisis, and this was since January of 2023, we are now in June of 2024. So we've missed out on funding for the past year plus. Now, again, what I don't want is for one of our veterans to be in crisis and not be able to know that the Guam Fire Department can pick them up, but they won't do it because there's a way that it needs to be fixed. Whatever that requirement is, can we please get to that requirement and make sure our veterans get the help that they need? The last time I checked, when they talked about this, right, VA will pay from point of crisis to the mental health hospital, and at the mental health location, they will pay for that stay as well, up to 30 days, and if it requires more, the VA will pay for it. Our government is in need of infusion of funds, and if we're transporting veterans, it can get paid for. If they end up over at the Guam Behavioral Health location, we can get the VA to pay for that. And more importantly than that, the veteran will be taken care of. And from our standpoint, that's something we'd like to see happen and put together so that if our veterans are ever in crisis. So that's one thing I wanted to say about that with regard to veterans in crisis and PTSD.
And don't reach, please, whatever you do, don't, we're all tough soldiers and Marines and Navy. Not sure about Space Force, but what we have to say is don't be afraid to say, hey, this is starting to bother my day. It's starting to involve my care. Reach out to a friend, family member, trusted colleague. Bring it to someone's attention before this gets way out of hand. Right. And that's bringing it to someone's attention is the most important thing. Accepting the help is pretty decent. Finding the help is a part of your organization that helps me do my job much better is when they send me active duty, when they send me veterans, without somebody saying, hey, you need help, that is the first highest priority step of family members in Guam is get that person to the care first.
Yes,
At
and
least
they can
admit
also
it.
call 988. And then with that, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
All right.
Is KFC's new pizza?
Fried chicken? That's our pizza.
That's right. You think KFC's new pizza isn't pizza because it's made with crispy fried chicken? You think the marinara, mozzarella, and pepperoni aren't enough? Well, you're right. It's not pizza. It's chizza. Only at KFC.
Now on Guam for a limited time, the new KFC Chizza. Grab yours today at your favorite KFC restaurant or order at kfcguam.com. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Tune in daily for a chance to win free movie passes to watch the premiere of Bad Boys, Ride or Die.
Call 911. Aren't you the police?
Join us at 7 p.m. Thursday, June 6th at Regal Cinemas. Bad Boys is a rated R film. Children under 6 will not be allowed in. 6 to 17-year-olds must be accompanied by a parent. Sijus Masi to our fine sponsors. The Dugout, CarQuest, Burger King, Lolita Camet of Hoffaday Realty, Jamaican Grill, Yaman, 30 years of serious food, Cause of You, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting, Star 101, The Point, and Boss 104.
Why don't you sing us a little Reba song? Sing your favorite.
What you gonna...
That ain't no Reba song.
It's from her mixtape.
Listen to win.
And we're back. So during the break, we were talking about the need for a hospital and
a step-down unit.
So do you want to explain to our guests, those that are listening, because
Okay. We had an amazing discussion with a hospitalist there locally, and I won't say his name, but just a wonderful guy. We have a blessing of great doctors, nurses, PTs, OTs here on the island. The biggest thing is the politicians run on this, oh, we got to get a hospital, we got to get it built. And I've been here over a year and a half, and they haven't picked a spot. And that's like picking a picnic. Eventually you can just sit down and say, let's go here. Well, when patient A comes into the hospital and they get treated, there's a point where, okay, now they don't no longer be in the hospital, but they don't need to go home yet either. Step down is such as corporations like Avante in Florida, where they took old hotels and converted them because they meet the American Disabilities Act, private proper rooms, gym, kitchen, things like this. And it's amazing how hotels, and we have talked to a hotel owner who's about donation, collecting what Medicare will pay for a room for a person. Step down is leaving the hospital, but not ready to go home yet. When they get to the step down, they get food, they get care, they get nursing care, they get therapy, they get activities. Now maybe, I think Medicare covers 21 days on the first, they used to cover up to 6 weeks. Now the person goes from the hospital to step down, he gets his, or she gets her 21 days or so, gets good rehab. Now that person may be ready to go home. So a perfect example is these people are being held on to until they think they can be home alone. Many of the patients I deal with are home alone already. Out of the 25 people I see in a house call in a week, probably 30% are veterans. Probably 10% of them are unregistered and not getting help. That person does not need to be home. They need to be in a step down, a skilled nursing facility where the person can get that care to transition them from the hospital bed to the step down to their home so they're safe at home. I have literally seen a patient on Thursday who was discharged 2 days prior, and he's back in the hospital on Friday because he's not ready to be home, but he doesn't really quite need to be in the hospital anymore. But he's also cannot be there by himself at home, unaided, uncared for. So before you think about hospital, you haven't picked the spot yet. Let's convert or do something with the spaces and buildings we have here already and get these skilled nursing facilities, step-down units or whatever you have up and running. Okay, I have 27 friends back in Florida who want to come here, love to be here, but the restrictive nature of practicing here is very difficult. And without patients, we don't exist. Without veterans, we don't exist. Without civilians, we don't exist. So before we claim a spot that this is the most beautiful spot for a hospital on the island, if one was broke ground on today, this hospital wouldn't be up and working for what, 3 to 5 years?
That's right.
So I'll be retired by the time this hospital's built because tomorrow, next week, next year, they'll still be thinking about where do we want to put a hospital at? Why not take care of these people that can come out of the hospital 10% or so a day? There's no exact number, of course. Put them in a step down, get them good therapy, good food, good take care of, then get them home. We're taking these people out of the hospital, not getting rid of their care, giving them more assisted care, and then sending them home when they're safer to be home. Okay, that's your highest priority, Senator. And I was joking with somebody. They're looking at this like monkeys playing football. It's cute to watch, but you know they don't know what they're doing. Senator, whichever, go to these doctors and find out what they really need. Talk to them in person. We make medical decisions. You don't want us making political decisions. We're not good at it.
Yes, and that's kind of like, one of the things I was looking at when we saw the front office asking to build somewhere, and then we had the legislature saying, well, we do want it, but we don't want it here, and it almost seemed like, could we get all these people in one room and have them just sit down and just hash it all out, and rather than putting that whole thing out into the news media, tell us the positives and the negatives, and let's line them all up and let's make a decision. I mean, at some point, right, only one person can be governor. So whoever the governor is, whatever it is that they need, the legislature will do what they need. Let the legislature do the legislature's job. Let the governor do the governor's job. And in the end, if we're able to arrive at where we need to be with what needs to happen, they do their input, and
Correct.
Whatever comes out, that's what we're going to get. Now, having that whole showing of, no, I'm going to say this, you're going to say that, I found that to be very disheartening for me. And then back to the care. I know that when we talked about veterans in the past, right, there was talks of a state veterans home, and we understood at one point that this was something that could happen. We discussed this, and many years ago, a doctor and I were talking, and he was the one who was trying to send me towards assisted living, and that whole project didn't materialize. But the things that are still required didn't stop back then.
No, they didn't.
You continue to need that even up until today. So when I started getting involved with veterans, what I found out, and maybe this is something you could talk about too, right, is when you're talking about VA and VA medical side of the house, right, there's a funding source for veterans. And if you're a veteran and you qualify, there are things that the VA will pay for. We had a discussion with Dr. McDermott, and he mentioned that there is a way for many of these things that are not just about CBOC, but they're more around the things you talked about, right? Getting them care at home, getting them other types of care that are not just related to the CBOC. In that conversation we had with him, he also said he's not worried about other doctors coming here to do the work that he's doing up there. We need more help, and he welcomes that help. And it's not necessarily for him to say, well, I don't want this help. You know, it's like if we have medical professionals willing to help our veterans, I think we need to take advantage of that. That's one thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many great doctors in this area, nurses in this area. But when I talk to fellows, internship residents, and the battles they have to go up against just to come here to practice and give away, if you've ever been an intern or a fellow, you're basically the cheapest labor they can afford. We make less than minimum wage. When you're doing 20-hour days, you've worked 10, 15 days in a row as an intern or a fellow, you're not paid well as everybody thinks we are. We're not all driving around in Ferraris. I drove a 72 Ford Pinto. I think that was pedal operated half the time. But what we need is to get these people here and get rid of some of these intrusive ideas of bringing people here. Specialty care is such a need here. And our veterans need it first. And I'll close with, get this idea through your head, local politicians, and I love you and I thank you for supporting the veterans, what you do, but remember one thing, we will not need a pretty bright flag-covered cemetery if we bring medicine here. If we prevent people from dying, we don't need the cemeteries. Everybody dies sometime, yes, but let's get involved now. Get us a step down. Get us some care. Get us some interventional care, and then we don't need beautiful cemeteries. We still want them. We still love them, but priorities are first. Okay.
And that's great to hear. And you know, we appreciate that, especially coming from you. You know, you're out there deep into the woods helping our veterans.
Literally.
And you have your foundation helping our veterans, and now you've also, like some other folks, like Total Guam, right? They also have a core of people that they use to help our veterans. So
yes.
there's no shortage of people that want to help our veterans. So what we need is like these folks that you have to come in and provide that service for us, right? So if we can bring them to us, we need the help, have them care for our veterans, number one. Number two, we may need specialty care to come in here. And when we're doing that, that might be something that, you know, we can do through veterans as well.
Absolutely.
You have 1 minute. Is there a message you want to send to anyone listening, veterans?
Yeah, the PTSD patients that we have out there, everything we talk about is, of course, complete secrecy. We have to. We're sworn by law for that. Please, as heroes that I look up to and the angels in our community, reach out to somebody and don't be afraid to be that hero that we all believe you are. And just reach out your hand for during this time of PTSD, because everybody needs a helping hand sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Yes. We'll see you next week.
Not me.
Good night.
All right. Good night.
The Point is KUSG, Hagåtña, Guam, 93.3 FM and 104.3 HD3.
History made in Mexico. I'm Ted Lindner, Fox News. Mexico set to elect its first female president with preliminary results showing that Claudia Sheinbaum, Mexico City's former mayor and climate scientist, is on track to win the country's largest election in history. Sheinbaum has won between 58.3 and 60.7% of the vote, according to what is known as quick count, an exercise that the National Electoral Institute carries out based on a statistical sample of ballots from polling stations. The 61-year-old riding the wave of popularity of her longtime political ally, the outgoing leftist Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, and their Morena party. Well, another high-profile trial that could have ripples in the presidential election starting later this morning. Fox's Madeline Rivera with more.
Hunter Biden's gun trial finally set to begin after his plea deal fell apart a year ago. He had been hoping to avoid prosecution in this case. Now he faces prison time and fines if he's convicted of the 3 federal gun charges against him. Prosecutors say he illegally bought a gun in October 2018 by lying about his drug use on a background check form. To prove guilt, special counsel David Weiss